Nominee Brett Kavanaugh of sexual assault indicated Thursday she might appear before Congress sometime next week. Christine Blasey Ford's lawyer sent a letter to the Senate Judiciary Committee asking to negotiate conditions. She said her client would be willing to testify if an agreement was reached, quote, on terms that are fair and which ensure her safety. Adding that Blasey Ford's preference continues to be for the Senate Judiciary Committee to allow for a full investigation prior to her testimony. Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley originally gave Blasey Ford a Friday deadline to decide whether she would testify. Joining me now from Washington is Ryan Grim. He is the D.C. bureau chief for The Intercept. Ryan, thank you for joining us. The letter from Blasey Ford's lawyer sounds like she might agree to be interviewed by Congress without an FBI investigation. So what needs to happen next for the hearings to proceed?
Well, the lawyer said that they want the hearing to be fair. So the distance between the way the hearing's currently being set up and what objective person might call fair is pretty wide. So there's a lot that can be negotiated within there. There had been some rumors at first that Blasey Ford and Kavanaugh would be sitting together at the table. That was never going to happen. So that's the type of thing that they would want to make sure is not going to happen. They'll want to talk about the length of time they're there, who's doing the questioning. There had been a suggestion that the Republicans, so as not to embarrass themselves for lack of gender diversity on the Judiciary Committee, would have their female staffers ask the questions rather than the senators themselves. And the lawyers may insist that no, we only want to hear directly from senators. Senators might want outside counsel to participate. There are a lot of things that can be discussed. It's unlikely that Republicans would dig in on the insistence that it be on Monday and no other day.
Right. I just want to ask you about Kavanaugh. He's been seen at the White House multiple times this week. Do we know what he's doing there, what he's been doing for the past few days?
Presumably, and this is what we're gathering, he's going through mock questioning, and he's relaying his side of the story to people so that he can make sure that he comes across as well as he possibly can under these circumstances.
Now, your publication, The Intercept, has reported about Kavanaugh's former mentor, Alex Kaczynski. What is his significance exactly?
Well, he's probably, other than Kennedy, the judge that is the most important to him. And Anthony Kennedy recommended Kavanaugh to be his replacement on the Supreme Court. So, but the way that he got to Kennedy was through Kaczynski. He clerked for Kaczynski in the 1990s in the Ninth Circuit out west. Kaczynski recommended him to Kennedy. Just recently, Kavanaugh had as a clerk Kaczynski's middle son. They have stayed very close over the years. Kaczynski and Kavanaugh were both vetting clerks that would go to Anthony Kennedy, and a Supreme Court clerkship is a terrific perch for a legal career. And so being in a position to vet them gives those lawyers and those judges an extraordinary amount of power. So, this is the judge who had the most impact on his career, really than any other, perhaps outside of Kennedy. And in December 2017, he resigned in disgrace after the Washington Post revealed a history of sexual harassment that had gone back decades. And so the question immediately became, well, what did Kavanaugh, who was so close to him, know about this?
It's not a great connection to be making at this moment in time. Meanwhile, on Thursday, the president slammed the spending bill that passed this week, tweeting, "I want to know where is the money for border security and the wall in this ridiculous spending bill." Now, as you know, the government funding deadline is September 30th. Is it likely that we are going to see a shutdown fight ahead of the midterms? Does the president feel that strongly about the wall that he could actually try to push it through?
He does, but it depends on whether he can be talked out of it. He wanted a government shutdown over the wall the last time around, and his aides talked him out of it. Told him, there's no real win for you in doing this. his instinct is always to go back to his base, to retreat inward to those who most enthusiastically support him. That's both his personal and his political mantra. And so, he believes that if he goes to the wall for the wall, that's going to rally his base in this crucial period right before Election Day. Democrats and Republicans on the Hill believe precisely the opposite, that a government shutdown, particularly in the midst of a Supreme Court flameout, only goes to sow more chaos and confusion and dysfunction. And when voters see that, they believe that you need to check something that's out of control. And the way to check it is to vote for the opposition party. It doesn't necessarily mean that they support everything the opposition party stands for, but there are a lot of voters who believe that you ought to have balance between the White House and Congress, and that's why in the first election after a presidential election, you so often see these waves come where the out party is washed in.
Right. All right, Ryan, we'll see if it happens. As you put it, he goes to the wall for the wall. I like that. Ryan Grim, thank you.
You got it.